Elizabeth has now appointed Liz Truss as UK's new Prime Minister, as now Liz Truss faces a country in the middle of a recession, soaring energy prices and industrial strife, and an ongoing war in Europe with the invasion of Russian forces in Ukraine for now over 6 months. Now, Liz Truss is the 4th consecutive Prime Minister in 6 years. She flew to the Queen's Scottish home to be appointed as Prime Minister and form government. She now replaces Boris Johnson, who was forced out after 3 years in power, and he was forced out by his own cabinet. Now, in a statement by Buckingham Palace, they said that Ms. Truss accepted Her Majesty's offer and kissed her hand upon her appointment as Prime Minister and the First Lord of the Treasury. The 47-year-old former Foreign Secretary will later address the country in Downing Street, and we have her speech for you, while outgoing former Prime Minister Boris Johnson has urged the country that, that they're at the helm of what the Conservative Party will do, but also has urged that his MPs stop warring in the party and stick to the new leader and to be able to support her in what she's going to face. Now, Liz Truss is inheriting an economic crisis, inflation in double digits. It's predicted that inflation could creep up to about 18% next year in the UK. The cost of energy soaring, according to the Bank of England, as they're warning it'll be a lengthy recession by the end of this year. And you have workers across the economy that have gone on strike. Now, her plan to revive the country when it comes to the economy is part of it. Her promises are through tax cuts and potentially providing about £100 billion, that's $116 billion for energy. And this is to ensure that the financial markets are rattled throughout this, what's happening with Russia cutting off the rest of Europe in terms of the energy supply, and also what has prompted investors to dump the pound in recent weeks and government bonds. And it's a very scary time for the United Kingdom, obviously the world economy. But when it comes to Liz Truss, well, she's had several senior cabinet positions as minister for 8 years. She defeated her rival Rishi Sunak in a vote by the Conservative Party members. There were 160,000 members, and she was able to win and become the Prime Minister in a very tight margin. More tight than what that was expected. Now, outgoing Prime Minister Boris Johnson, he tried to cling on to power just recently, even as far back as July, but there was a mass protest by his ministers, and then he was not able to maintain his government, and of course he had to step down, which triggered the leadership election. Now, we have the speech from outgoing Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Take a look.
Thank you. Well, this is it, folks. Thank you, everybody, for coming out so early this morning. In only a couple of hours, I will be in Balmoral to see Her Majesty the Queen. And the torch will finally be passed to a new Conservative leader. The baton will be handed over in what has unexpectedly turned out to be a relay race. They changed the rules halfway through, but never mind that now. And through that lacquered black door, a new Prime Minister will shortly go to meet a fantastic group of public servants.
I have just accepted Her Majesty the Queen's kind invitation to form a new government. Let me pay tribute to my predecessor. Boris Johnson delivered Brexit, the COVID vaccine, and stood up to Russian aggression. History will see him as a hugely consequential Prime Minister. I'm honoured to take on this responsibility at a vital time for our country. What makes the United Kingdom great is our fundamental belief in freedom, in enterprise, and in fair play. Our people have shown grit, courage, and determination time and time again. We now face severe global headwinds caused by Russia's appalling war in Ukraine and the aftermath of COVID.
That was the new Prime Minister of the UK, Liz Truss. Now, energy prices for households are due to jump about 80% in October. And Liz Truss says that what her government is planning to do is to freeze the bills as a part of being able to manage the cost of the energy bills. And now this cost, the cuts that she's making to the cost will go towards about the $100 billion that will essentially cost the government, and it's going to surpass the COVID-19 furlough scheme. Very significant, £100 billion. We're talking about 115 billion dollars is equivalent to that. Now, it's not clear how Britain's going to pay for these support schemes, but this is something that she had promised on her campaign, and also it could mean that the government will increase their borrowing.